Okay, our first type of conversion that we're going to go through on this tutorial is simple conversions using the prefix line. So simple conversions refer to having a value that is just changing the prefix associated with it from the prefix line. We'll work through this first example, which asks if we have 0.422 decagrams, how many decigrams is that? So to work with a simple conversion, we start with writing the given value and units. So I'll set up the factor label grid after I show the given value, 0.422 decagrams. Don't forget the units, that's an important part of this. Our factor label method says that we need to have a relationship between units where we have one on the top in the numerator and one on the bottom in the denominator. The one that goes on the bottom is the one that we're canceling from. That would be decagrams in this case. So we're going to start with writing the units and then we'll get to the values later. So decagrams, in order for it to cancel, needs to be on the bottom of the factor label conversion. On the top are the units that we're going into, in this case decigrams. Now we're going to look to our prefix line and determine the relationship between decagrams and decigrams. As you know, as we are from the mega side, that's the larger side of the prefix line. You might even put an arrow saying larger in this direction. So we can see that comparing deca and deci, the capital D is the larger. So that gets the value of 1. Now we want to look at the relationship between deci and deca and count the places, power of 10. So we go to the standard, that is 10 to the first, and deca is 10 to the second. So we can show that as 100, a 1 with 2 zeros, or 10 squared, the number of decigrams that equal 1 decagram. Next, we're going to cancel the units just to make sure that we've gotten into the correct units. We're searching for decigrams. And we can see that when we cancel decagrams, we are now in decigrams. So we'll put the units that we've solved for. The last thing we want to do is numerically calculate. So we're going to take 0.422 and multiply times any value that's on the top and divide by any value that's on the bottom. So 0.422 times 100 moves the decimal 2 places. And you can put that in the calculator or use the move the decimal with your pencil, and that gets us 42.2. We don't need to plug in divide by 1, so that means that our answer here is 42.2 decigrams. We always want to consider, does that make sense? Well, since we've got less than 1 decagram, and we know that decigrams are smaller, we're going to have more decigrams than we did decagrams. So this answer makes sense. Next, we're going to try another simple conversion problem. I'm going to have you pause your video after I explain what the problem is. So again, in the simple conversions, we're going to this time calculate if we are given a value of 573,000 microliters. So remember that that is the micro all the way over on our prefix line. So here, we want to determine how many deciliters that is. So I'd like you to pause the video now and solve for this using the factor label method, and then after you finish, unpause, or sorry, start the video again to see if you had the answer correct. So welcome back. If you did this simple conversion, example 2, correctly, you would have started with 573,000 microliters and then shown the relationship between deciliters and microliters. Deciliters is larger than microliters, so that gets the value of 1. There are 5 powers of 10 that separate microliters from deciliters, so that would be a 1 with 5 zeros, 100,000, or 10 to the 5th. We cancel microliters, end up in deciliters, and moving your pencil or doing the calculation on your calculator, 5.73 deciliters is the answer when we convert from 573,000 microliters.